And I have had the pleasure for about the last 7 months to work with this next partner on their co-sell motion. You know, in the last 7 months, we have developed and are actively working about $500 million in pipeline with our enterprise sellers, with their connected building solutions. So for me, I have a lot of passion for this partner. I think that the topic of sustainability has become so important in the market. Microsoft has taken a really big position about sustainability, and this partner is playing in that market with us as well. So without further ado, I would really like to take the opportunity to introduce the VP and GM of Honeywell, their connected building solution area, David Price.
Great. Thank you all for coming and out for snowball fights. It was a little bit late in the afternoon, but I've got a lot to cover today. I've got kind of 4 themes I want to share for you. I've added one as I've heard some of what was discussed over the course of this morning. We, in our business, have gone through a fairly large transformation over the last year and a half. I'll do what I can to kind of tell you a little bit about that because I didn't realize that was such a strong theme for the discussions here. So that's what I want to do. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I want to tell you a little bit about Honeywell Connected Enterprise and our journey and what we're trying to accomplish and where we're at, and then tell you a little bit about the products that we're bringing to market and how that connects to Microsoft and the Azure platform. Pretty important partnership from our perspective. So with that, let me start by telling you a little bit about Honeywell Connected Enterprise, how I came to be here, et cetera, because Honeywell's trying to pull off something that's pretty monumental. About a little over a year and a half ago now, the 4 CEOs from the big SPGs inside of Honeywell, as well as Darius, all agreed that becoming a software industrial wasn't happening fast enough. The way we were doing it at the time was every one of the SPGs had a pocket of software development that was happening inside of it, and we just weren't making enough progress. As a result of that, they said, well, let's create a 5th SPG. Let's create a software-only SPG where we can really focus on building software, we can get the right talent in, and we can build a platform that we can use across our internal business. So HCE was born. HCE was born, and they went out and recruited a number of people that are not traditional Honeywell employees. I don't come from the hardware OEM manufacturing side of the world. I've been in enterprise software my whole career. In fact, I've been a startup founder on 2 occasions. Unfortunately, I was able to sell one of my companies to Oracle and spend some time there helping them launch their cloud CRM solutions. So I understand the software space. Honeywell was looking for a pretty strong shift into a world that they, quite frankly, didn't understand very well at the time. So a year and a half ago, 18 months ago, we were born. I was brought in as a GM to run the Connected Buildings LOB inside of Honeywell Connected Enterprise. I was given a bunch of tools and toys to kind of figure out what to do with. We were really good at building point solutions. We were really good at kind of cobbling together technology to get data into a cloud. It really wasn't a product. It really was just kind of things that you could use to try and accelerate moving data around. Those products were referred to as Sentience, for those of you that might have been aware of some of that activity. Sentience is no more. We are focused on an enterprise platform. So I inherited all these products. I inherited customers all over the globe. And as I started thinking about what the first couple of steps were going to be for our business, I started to realize that because we've been delivering these point solutions, we didn't really have a very good frame of reference for what our business was all about. And so the first thing I did was I went to our own corporate real estate group and said, what do you guys think we do as a business? And his response was fascinating. He's like, well, you built some products for us and we're using them in a couple of buildings, and we don't have a very good dog fooding strategy, which is our internal discussion of using our own products. He said, but I'm going to tell you, it's death by 1,000 cuts. We have 1,000 buildings in our portfolio, and I have to deal with every one of them one at a time, and it's just not sustainable. We are being told to do more with less. My budgets are being cut, yet I've got to get productivity out of these buildings, and I don't know how to do that. He said, you have to help me with that problem. Well, I wasn't really expecting to hear that. I thought we were stepping into a world of IoT, and let me help you kind of get some data and run some nice algorithms to help drive efficiency and critical assets around our critical buildings. That wasn't what he was interested in talking about at all. He was talking about an enterprise problem of managing a fleet of buildings in a way that they just couldn't do. So I took that, and then I said, I want to go on the road. I want to go meet some of our customers. So I spent 5 weeks on the road going all over the globe and was talking with C-level executives about what their problems were. And I'll tell you, in that period of time, I didn't hear IoT mentioned once, which is pretty interesting. IoT is certainly an enabler for the problems they're trying to solve, but what they're trying to solve is a bit different. And as a result of that, bringing all that information and all that data into kind of a central think tank, we started to realize that the problem we're out to solve is actually not an IoT problem at all. We've got to learn how to connect assets, but what we're really focused on trying to do is solve a classic problem that doesn't exist today. And that is thinking about buildings in a very different way. Because I need IoT data to run buildings, but I also need financial data. I also need HR data. I also need, workforce data and service case data. It comes from a whole bunch of different systems. And I've got, a lot of buildings to manage that across. So all of a sudden it became very clear to us that this is not just an IoT problem, it's a much bigger problem than that. And if we're going to solve this problem for our customers and for ourselves, we've got to think differently about the platform that we're looking to build. Enterprise performance management became the category, if you will, that we started referring to our solution. We started at the C level. We talk about how we can drive benefits to the bottom line, and here are the solutions that are necessary to make that happen. So that's the business that we're in. It really does include a lot of IoT technology, and I'll get into some of that here in a moment. But it's a bigger category than just IoT. It's about helping our businesses at the top levels of corporate America around the globe be more efficient in running their portfolio, not just a building at a time. So what are some of the problems that we identified? So if you double click on that, I've got a bit of a long-winded story I'll tell around some of this, but I'll try to keep it short. I like to talk about how buildings are built. Buildings are built today from a process perspective, no different than they were built 50 years ago. You put a structure in place, you put HVAC in place, you put access control in place, you put security in place, you put all these different systems in place, and guess what? None of them were ever designed to work together. By design. That's a problem. The second problem that compounds the issue is I don't have just one building. I've got 1,000. Guess what? We've got a couple of customers that have 100,000 buildings, and I need to manage them at scale. How do I do that? By the way, it's not just IoT data. Remember all of that other data we talked about, CRM and HR and financials, et cetera. That's all a part of the mix as well. So I've got this complex environment that I live in, and understanding how I get data out of a chiller and improve its performance in a vacuum is interesting, but that's really not the core problem I need to solve. I've got a scale problem. Well, the last problem further compounds the issue. Traditional wisdom says the way you manage buildings today is to do what? Throw people in. Right? That's the conventional wisdom. And there's two issues with that. One, it costs me money. Every company that I've talked to around the globe has some kind of maintenance contract, whether it's on critical assets or the fan unit in the bathroom. Somebody else manages that, and they do it with people. And that costs money to my bottom line. That's the first problem with the manual labor. Second problem with manual labor is the fact that, guess what? All those people that are doing that labor today, they're retiring. There's nobody behind them. So how do I fix this problem? This is actually a really, really big problem that really supersedes the need to get data out of an asset and run an algorithm on it. Because this fundamentally changes the way organizations can perform in the future. In some ways, you might suggest it defines the winners and losers. So that's the problem that we're trying to solve at scale. Now, I talk about it from a market perspective, but guess what? This is the problem that exists inside of Honeywell. I've got buildings. We're in 10 million buildings around the world with our fire and security and access control and control systems business. I personally have software in over 1 million buildings around the world, but it's not limited to that. We had to solve a problem for our aerospace group as well. We have sensors and equipment in 90% of the aircraft that fly today, and I've got over 7,000 manufacturing plants that we have equipment in as well. I need to have a platform that can solve problems across that variety of need. So it's a big challenge. How do we build that? You have to think about the problem very differently. Well, introducing Honeywell Forge. Honeywell Forge is the platform we're building internally. And we're building it for ourselves, and we're building it for our customers. Remember, I've got manufacturing facilities, I've got buildings all over the world. We've even got our own fleet of airplanes because we use them for testing in the aerospace group. So I've got all these problems that I've described, and I've got to build a platform that allows me to think generally about the complexity that I just described in a single way. So we're focused on making sure that we're delivering on 3 core capabilities of our platform that solve and address the problems I just described. The first is a unified operating model. We think about not only assets. Assets are critical in getting assets out of a building, and our airplane or plant are absolutely necessity. But guess what? I have people in my buildings and in my plants. I have processes that need to be optimized, and I have operations and operational data that need to be a part of that unified operating model. So if you remember the slide that was just before us where we kind of compared ourselves to ERP and the evolution of CRM and enterprise performance management, what happened at each one of those steps along the way? They were all unifying data into a common model to give you a central system of record on how to operate your customer environment, your manufacturing environment, in our case, your operational technology environment. That's the way we're thinking about solving our problem. But we can't stop there because you can't build a solution that has 100% of what you need in a given model. So we're layering on top of that a fairly traditional thought process if you've come from the enterprise software world, and that is extensibility. I feel pretty comfortable we're going to be able to solve a problem by vertical with an 80% solution. But the remaining 20%, I have no idea where it's coming from. Some of our customers want to put parking systems in place. Some want to put a different kind of security system in place. Some are using biometrics. I've got to be able to extend my platform in ways that I can't anticipate, and I've got to do it in ways that don't require hard code engineering in order to make it happen. Why? Because I need to be able to scale my business, and I need to future-proof my customers' problems so that as they develop and change over time, I can support their needs on going forward. And then lastly, the point about autonomous control is important because you remember that human element that I talked about from a labor perspective a moment ago that's going away? What am I going to replace it with? I can't hire people out of school to go do those problems. We've got to think differently about how we're running our buildings. We've got to think about turning them into a Tesla, where they get better every day, and I'm able to drive them with autonomous control on an ongoing basis. This is the essence of Honeywell Forge. If I was a startup and I was pitching to a bunch of VCs, perhaps you guys would be them, I would say this is my secret sauce. This is what makes our platform applicable to not only our business, but a lot of our customers' businesses as well. What does that platform look like from a tech stack perspective? Going from the top to the bottom, we are building, as we speak, the whole stack, but we're only bringing to market applications, and we'll talk about one in particular here in just a moment. The applications sit at the top. They're focused around buildings with portfolio optimization, energy optimization, digitized and predictive maintenance, occupant experience, the traditional kind of things you're probably familiar with. But we're focused on managing portfolios of buildings, not a single building at a given time. Those applications that we're bringing to market are built on top of this extensible layer of capability around our Forge Builder layer of the stack. This is an API exposing set of capabilities that we're building our applications on top of. The APIs fall into 3 general categories. One is APIs infrastructure for extensibility, giving me the ability to drive extensions into a core model so that we can support any of our customers' business problems. The second is around integration. Once I've extended a model, I need to be able to get data in it from wherever it comes from, whether it be from the edge or from the financial system that I didn't anticipate. The last one is functionality. So capabilities for predictive maintenance and energy optimization we're exposing through APIs, not only to build our own applications for, but we're finding that partners actually want to use our APIs and build their own class of application as well, which is not something we necessarily anticipated, but it makes for an interesting solution because that's how we think about building products in our own business across our own verticals. The next layer of the stack, well, and before I go, this layer of the stack is important because not only do I need to be able to get data into it from these other systems, but I've got to be able to take the aspect of the model that captures information, in my case, about buildings, and have a very strong correlation and link to the building itself. That's what this next layer happens to be all about. The intelligent gateway that we refer to as Forge Connect is the appliance and the software solution that lives inside of a building that is based on the Niagara framework that is also part of our portfolio. What's important about that is Niagara has proven for years that it's a pretty extensible platform. So we've built a link between the semantic models we build in the cloud and the Niagara software solution that lives in the gateway, such that I am able to deliver extensibility in my cloud edge solution. Not just ensure I can get data from the edge to the cloud, but I can future-proof it with extensibility in ways that we need to have for our business and our customers need to have as well. Well, we're taking that set of capability that is containerized and empowered with Niagara and has some ability to do context discovery with machine learning so that we can always learn what's going on in a building, and we're microsizing it as well. And we're taking it and delivering it to our internal hardware manufacturers such that they can take the controllers and the actuators, the sensors that they develop day in and day out for the hardware that they manufacture and run a thin slice of this capability inside those assets as well. The benefit of that is we can now push a commissioning template down to these assets, so when the asset turns on, it knows where it lives, in our case, inside the topology of the building itself. Think about that next generation now where there are no labor-based individuals that we can bring into a building to manage it for us. What we've just done is put an infrastructure in place that allows me to manage all of my buildings across the world in a coffee shop in Chicago. Why? Because the assets know where they live, they know what their purpose in life is, I have autonomous control on top of them, I only see the issues that need to be addressed, and I can make those decisions centrally from a central location, and only call in people when necessary. So that's the Forge stack. How does that sit with our friends at Microsoft? Well, we have made a strategic decision that our go-to-market cloud platform is Azure. You can see here the layers of the stack and how we're deploying our capability across Azure. This is an important decision that we've made. When I showed up, there was an awful lot of conversation around on-premise implementation and cloud-agnostic solutions and things of that nature. Well, I've been through a little bit of this journey as CRM went from on-premise to the cloud, and know a little bit how that's likely to play out. We've made a statement. Azure is our platform. We're taking advantage of some of the services therein, primarily around ensuring that we're able to have a single set of code around the globe. So our implementation of Forge right now is being deployed in a number of countries around the world. And this is important because we've got customers that are all over the world. That customer that I described a moment ago that has 100,000 buildings, they're everywhere. Some places I've got data sovereignty issues where I need to keep that data in a country. We're building that into the platform such that you have the opportunity to manage your global infrastructure and adhere to data sovereignty rules where those exist. What does that mean from our perspective, from a strategic point of view? We've got to have global coverage. It's a necessity in our business. The Forge Gateway that I talked about a moment ago, it gives us the opportunity to drop ship an appliance into a building anywhere in the world, and no matter whose BMS is running, we can connect to it and get that data into our data infrastructure. So when I do that, I've got to have an infrastructure in the cloud that's resident in certain countries in order to be able to do the things that we do. I need to have an integrated CI/CD process. I won't go into a whole lot of detail on that, but we've got to run one set of code. I cannot have multiple sets of code. Those of you that have been in the software business understand the complexities therein. We need to make sure that we are able to keep our customers on the current code line, no matter where they happen to be in the world. And I talked a little bit about this. Well, I want to skip from the architecture and infrastructure, and I'll tell you a little bit about a case study. I've been working with Burj Khalifa for about a year now. And we've been focused on two areas, energy optimization and predictive maintenance. This particular case study is around the topic of energy optimization. The Burj Khalifa, as you know, is a 10-year-old building. They are probably the most efficient building I've ever seen in the world, and not to suggest that I'm an expert. I've seen quite a few buildings over the last year and a half. They have invested significantly over the last 2 years to try and achieve 5% energy savings inside their business. Well, so we came to them and said, well, we've got a solution that we think can take what you've done thus far from an automation and a labor perspective and take it to the next level. Because the way we think about an HVAC system is not by saying, hey, let me run a couple of algorithms and go change the set points on the thermostat. That in our world is not good enough. In a building like this or a building like Burj Khalifa, there are multiple HVAC circuits. In Burj Khalifa, there's 10. They've got a chiller plant that lives outside the building that is massive. They've got, inside these circuits, they've got dozens, if not hundreds of pieces of equipment that are moving air to and fro back to the zones where it's necessary. It's a complex environment. The rules that they put in place were great, but they're only as smart as the rules that they coded. And so the way we think about it is, I don't want to optimize just one of the assets, I want to optimize the whole system. So we've written an autonomous control process that evaluates the entire system in 15-minute increments and drives changes back into the system itself, trying to look for opportunities to optimize how the system works while not imposing upon the comfort of the building and the occupants therein. So we use that as an objective function as a part of the baseline to ensure we don't surpass the baseline of comfort. If we do, we shut it all off because we don't want to impact the occupant experience. Well, why is this important? Once again, we come back to the fact that they thought they had done as much as you could possibly do to improve energy consumption and savings in their building. They had achieved 4%. Well, what we've put in place is a mechanism that makes decisions constantly across all of the control points in the system itself. And we're making almost 10 million decisions a year over and above what they've got coded into their infrastructure to help drive some significant savings. And so if you don't believe that the story that I'm telling, I hope that you would, but I don't require you to. I've actually got a little testimonial from our customer itself. Would you roll the video?
When I tell people I work in Burj Khalifa, I get the reaction, wow, what are you doing there? How is the building? Burj Khalifa is a critical building, and it is very important for the country. So we deal with the assets with highest criticality in terms of how we maintain them. The air conditioning system, the building movement monitoring system, 57 elevators, literally everything in this building communicate back and forth to this very room. Honeywell have provided us with the best system that runs our assets basically, or control the assets.
I've had CEOs of large organizations say openly, I have no idea how much money we're losing in our buildings. And it is an acute focus here. The vision for where they want to go and how they want to use technology to drive savings to their P&L is remarkably focused.
In a typical operation, a machine will give us an alarm as an indication of failure. Our operator in this control room then calls the help desk. The help desk calls the supervisor, who calls the technician to go and diagnose what caused the alarm, go back to the store to take the tools required, go back to the asset, fix it, and that's it. So Honeywell came up with algorithms that I would say mimic that diagnostics by utilizing sensors on the floor, doing some checks, so the machine would understand what is happening. And the machine is learning with time, so it is building that portfolio.
The next step is really driving towards more autonomous control, because anybody can kind of do analytics. The hard part really comes from making the decisions about where you want to go based on the signals that you're receiving and doing it in a way that doesn't require human intervention.
my vision of a predictive maintenance in the future is to be completely autonomous. I want to reach into a state where I don't even have to open my laptop, knowing that the building is running itself on its own.
The way we're driving improvements is something that we have heard from our customers is shocking. If you imagine the impact being somewhere between 10 and 30% in OpEx savings month over month, that's a dramatic improvement in the way you're running your building.
Yeah, so Burj Khalifa has seen some tremendous benefits. Here is just a little example of how we kind of document and capture some of the benefits. The green dots are below the average where we're finding savings. We have allowed them to achieve a total of 10% savings. Over time, the 4% that they are doing with business rules and manual labor will start to incorporate that as well, taking that over, driving down the actual cost of implementation for them as well, so delivering additional savings over time. So it's been a phenomenal opportunity for us to prove how some of the technology that we've been working on for some time can dramatically change not only savings to the bottom line, but also allow them to hit sustainability goals that they have for their business, not only in Burj Khalifa, but across all of them. This is what we think is really exciting about what we're doing. All of this is made possible by running our platform on Azure, rolling it out globally and meeting in UAE and other places in the Mideast, the data sovereignty requirements that they have, while maintaining control of a single set of code from one location is an unbelievably strategic thing for us to be able to do. And we're very excited about this partnership. And we believe that this is going to bring to bear a different kind of solution for a market that is desperately waiting for a better way to run fleets of buildings at a given time. So I thank you for your time, and I'd like to invite Michelle to come back up and ask us a few questions. And it was done just in time, well, almost in time.
Wow. So how long did it take to prove out some savings?
Yeah, good question. So here's some of the beauty of what we've done here and the way we're thinking about trying to solve the problem a little bit differently. We were able to get data flowing in about a 10-day period of time, and in 6 weeks' time, we were showing them week over week savings of about 7%. That's normalized to 6 over time, but we got to savings and we're learning their behavior and driving our autonomous control algorithms in less than 6 weeks.
I'm really interested about this. By the way, even before I started to work with Honeywell, my husband designs Honeywell into buildings. So he's an electrical contractor and has always thought very highly of the Honeywell product. And then because of that, in the homes that we've built, we have Honeywell products. We are, by default, we love the product lines. All right, so how many customers are interested in this?
Well, so that's another really good question. You heard some of the statistics earlier. We've got tens of millions of buildings around the world that we have product in some capacity. And that's been a really nice thing for us to be able to walk into the executives of a lot of the businesses that own those buildings and talk to them about the solution. I will tell you though, if you think about the platform in one way, that's an interesting part of the conversation. Most everybody we talk to today has sustainability objectives that they're going after. Honeywell, ourselves, we have a sustainability budget. This ties right into that. We haven't found a company yet that's not interested in talking about putting our solution for sustainability in place, because not only does it drive a significant benefit from a sustainability perspective, the average payback is about 7 months.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Well, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I just would like to thank you for the partnership. This is an inaugural opportunity for us to come and tell our story. For those of you who know us, we probably haven't heard this story yet because it's been in development for 1.5 years. And I appreciate the opportunity and look forward to doing more of it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Please welcome Matt Vasey, Senior Director, AI Platforms, Microsoft.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate you guys hanging on. I see a little snow in the air, so I appreciate you guys hanging on to the end of the day. My name is Matt Vasey. I lead a team of AI business development folks that work primarily on our new and emerging AI technologies. And we've been working on that, I guess, for the last 2 years. Prior to that, I worked in the ioT space. So to give you a little background into kind of what I've been up to, I used to actually work in this channel, in the embedded channel, working with a lot of the OEMs in this room. Over the last couple of years, I've represented Microsoft on the OPC Foundation board, which is I like to say it's not just a protocol, but it's a way for connecting IoT devices. I'm on the IIC, the Industrial Internet Consortium board, as well as on the A3, the Association for the Advancement of Automation board, and was the founder and chairman of Open Fog Consortium, which is, I want to hang on that last point, because when we formed the Open Fog Consortium, we were really trying to solve the problem of how do you deliver AI at the edge, computing at the edge, in the context of 5G, when 5G was coming on board. Now, we just closed the merger with the Industrial Internet Consortium to form the world's largest AI and IoT consortium focused on these edge scenarios. So we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through. We're sitting at kind of the edge of kind of an incredible inflection point. And I think, just if you watch the Super Bowl ads and how many ads there were about how great the 5G network was. And I kept looking at my phone expecting that, the 5G would appear on there, and it did not do that. But we are now in this place where we have virtually unlimited computing power. We've kind of proven that out over the last 3 to 5 years. Now cloud is delivering unlimited computing power. 5G networks are coming, and they will be here soon. And in fact, in some markets, you already have 5G. In fact, my phone sometimes says 5G, although I don't have a 5G radio on my phone, so I wonder about that. And then finally, all these devices we have that are at the edge of the network are kind of allowing consumers to think about what kinds of things are possible. So we have this the intelligent cloud, we have these edge devices, we have now artificial intelligence. Now, although artificial intelligence was coined many decades ago, it is finally kind of a real thing. If we did questions and answers, which we're not going to do at the end of today's session because we're kind of tight on time, but invariably somebody puts the question, their hand up, and asks about the Terminator. We will not be talking about that in this presentation. What we will be talking about is how machine learning and cognitive services can change the way your business and your devices work. But this kind of coalescence of technology is enabling a new class of distributed and connected applications. So we'll show you some videos about partners that are working in these areas. And then at the end, I'll close on mixed reality and talk a little bit about how we take these smart devices, this great network connectivity, and finally this kind of ubiquitous compute and turn it into people-centered experiences with mixed reality. So lots of people have one of these. I'm going to start thinking about devices starting close to your body and moving farther away from your body. So wearables like this effectively are metronome for our lives. It buzzes on our wrist, tells us when we need to get up and go to a meeting, it tells us when to wake up. It really drives a lot of kind of what you do in a given day. And that is AI we actually wear on our body. Now, I was trying to think of an example of the AI you have in your body. I don't have a pacemaker, so I can't talk about that, but I do have a watch. This watch is smart, and it's not just a watch like an old school watch, which actually was what I'm wearing today, but it is a connected watch that leverages AI to adjust the tempo of those beats according to traffic, weather, schedule changes, etc. A little bit farther from your body, you're surrounded. These are like the most important things: time, coffee, household devices like Keurig. That device can be connected and deliver just-in-time coffee delivery because it is tied into that cloud. Moving a little bit farther, I leave my house, and suddenly the transportation networks and systems are now transformed. Those flows are optimized. Not only that, at a personal level, my phone is connected to these devices, and when I'm late for my train, or my train's going to arrive early, or as in this case, my plane is going to leave late, my phone tells me. And then finally, the phone, the most ubiquitous device. And I think we'll pause here for a second. This is the most powerful edge device probably any of us will leverage for quite a while. It either has 2 or 4 cores of compute. It's got GPU in it. It's got advanced radios, like huge throughput that you can deliver through this thing. And we interact with it for hundreds of times a day, but we measure that interaction in hours. There are very few other devices that we measure in hours. If you have children, it's many hours, and then you get to pay for those hours. What is amazing is all of this value that we're getting. McKinsey looked at the value that IoT with AI infused is generating, and they determined that 70% of the value is actually not going to be with consumers, it's going to be with business. So when you think about the impact that these 4 devices that I outlined have on your life on a day-to-day basis, we have to think about what the impact of converged intelligence, edge devices, and network is going to have on the businesses we work with. The intelligent edge is impacting our personal lives. It's changing the entire economy. The buildings, David was talking about, how the Burj Khalifa, how they were able to save 6% on their budget, and how he was managing many millions of operations. This change in the way that our buildings work changes the way that we work. The energy that we drive our cars with, whether it be electric or gasoline, that is all managed by edge devices, optimized by edge devices, created back at the factory by edge devices. The vehicle, which may soon, I don't have a Tesla at this point, but I'm told it is a data center on wheels. It is actually the kind of most, it's an autonomous device. It has a huge amount of compute, a huge amount of GPU in it, and it is basically a rolling data center. These vehicles are changing the way that infrastructure happens. So this convergence is creating these immersive experiences. And this is not an intelligent edge device. The one thing, I got the watch, the phone, everything's working perfectly. The analog device does not work. So can we advance this slide? There we go. Perfect. The other thing which is happening, and I've done a lot of work in this space of automation, and so when a lot of the work that I do with the OPC Foundation is focused on industrial automation, robots, PLCs. About 2 or 3 years ago, we started thinking about digital automation and digital robots. My first job, I actually worked at a GM plant. And trying to optimize the line, which really is trying to get the guys to drink less beer. That's actually a reality if you work there. But in the 1960s, we started bringing robots. And the robots we had in our plant there was only 8 robots. They were ginormous orange robots. And they were doing spot welding that was for only the most dangerous and dirty thing. It was a huge amperage, a very complicated thing to even go in and fix one because they're all inside cages. Today, those robots have moved out and we're actually working with those robots. And part of that is because of AI. When you go back just a few years, the only automation in the workplace was things like Excel, and that would automate the way that we did addition and subtraction and doing business modeling. And then later, we started seeing, kind of advanced macros. Today, the biggest rise in robotics in the workplace is robotic process automation. Literally digital workers doing work in the workplace. And this is all driven by AI like OCR, document understanding, vision AI. So this kind of automation is all around us, not just in the factory floor, but also in the office. Blue collar workers are being impacted, but white collar workers are as well. And then I say the irony is that robotic cars are going to be moving both of those workforces in not too long. So there's been this evolution, and the evolution of from like this is where my kids think on the far left. This is where my kids think I work. I talk about industrial automation, but it wasn't that long ago we had steam-powered things, and now we have these autonomous systems. Very quickly, this is happening, and what made the difference between those robots of the 1960s and the robots of today is largely AI. So we're going to talk about this convergence, and I'm going to give you some examples of this convergence. But multiple technologies, machine acceleration, CPU, GPU, DPU, TPU, many PUs out there that are really starting to accelerate, and they're really custom ASICs that are focused on driving specific AI workloads. This is changing the way that these edge devices work. And then finally, we've got the systems that you heard about this morning about the ioT hub that can manage all of these sensors across your business, and digital twins, which I think we hopefully talked a lot about this morning, that allow you to model your physical environment and predict behavior. So this convergence is driving new opportunities for this audience. We have a kind of a comprehensive portfolio, all the way from secure MCU, where we heard the folks from Azure Sphere talking about how you can secure those devices against all those risks and all those attack surfaces and how you can secure them. And Dr. Galen Hunt's, I don't know if you folks were here, but I encourage you the principles of a secure device. It's actually a good read and important to think about as you design devices. These capabilities come to life in the customer site. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at an example in agritech. There we go. In agritech, the reason we ended up focusing on this really came out of our AI for good, and we realized that 1 in 9 folks in the world are struggling from food insecurity. We understood that as our environment changes, as the climate changes, some places become wetter, some places become drier. We're seeing in Latin America, for instance, crops that have grown for generations no longer grow, and that's driving all kinds of problems. We're seeing in this country areas that are wetter than they've ever been before. How do we deal with these things? And so we started thinking about how we could apply AI and kind of a sensor network to do this. And so we started thinking about how we could address the issues. The 3 issues we needed to address. First off, there are very in the farmer's field, there are very few sensors. If you do put sensors out there, they end up getting disrupted either by animals or by the farmer themselves or by farm equipment. It's very, very difficult to deal with. The second is you need to have inexpensive sensors for it to pencil out. And finally, these things are far away from network. There's no like Cat5 cable. You seldom dig it out when you're out in the field. So we had to solve these problems. So one of the things that we did is first we looked at how we could use drones to move the sensor to the field and keep it connected. So that was one area where we kind of made some significant advances. The second one was we started using bandwidth from TV channels that were not occupied in those areas to provide a high quality, high speed, and long distance transmission of signal. And so we did that. And then finally, we looked at how we could use things like ioT Edge to manage all of these sensors. So we came up with kind of an architecture that looks like this that used partner solutions, Microsoft technology. It connected the animals, the sensors, the equipment all together, and the result were these precision maps you'll see in a minute. And these precision maps enabled the farmers to understand where they needed to apply more fertilizer, less fertilizer, where they needed to change their irrigation practices, and ultimately there was a great result. So what we'll do, we'll take a look at the video, and we'll play the video, and then we'll come back and talk about some of the areas where you can apply the same thing.
My name is Sean Stratman, and I'm a farmer. I've been doing this a long time, and it's clear, now more than ever, that we need to find better ways to grow and to ensure a sustainable future for farming. Water scarcity and agricultural pollution are all creating pressures that farmers around the world are feeling. We are looking to human ingenuity and technology to feed our growing population.
My background is in connectivity and battery technologies, but I grew up spending summers on our family farm in India. That foundation gives me a unique perspective in my work as a principal researcher at Microsoft. New sensor technology is a great tool in providing data on soil moisture and soil nutrients to help farmers make best use of their resources. Unfortunately, these sensor solutions can cost thousands of dollars per sensor and require many sensors to monitor a field properly. Drones and other imaging technologies can provide very useful data and allow for precise monitoring of land over time. But these devices require a high bandwidth wireless connection from the middle of the farm. To solve our connectivity problem, we utilize the unused channels for TV broadcasts, which are abundant in rural areas. This allows us to transfer large amounts of data from cameras and sensors in these remote areas to a local processor at the farm and out to the Microsoft cloud.
So I send this up, and it's taking pictures all the time.
Our big breakthrough was the integration of machine learning into the processing of imaging and ground sensor data. Through this process, the data insights are magnified. From 2 finite data points, we are able to create a detailed heat map of the farm. The farmer is able to access this map and utilize it to inform resource management and to track the effects of the inputs.
Having a greater understanding of soil conditions and how our actions affect them, it allows us to put the work in where it's needed. It's changing the way that we work with the land, and it's changing the way the land works for us.
So that's a great example of how this convergence of technology delivers solutions that were not previously available. This convergence, mind you, is coming across every industry. Smart cities are able to, save energy, optimize traffic congestion, find best routes, change the way traffic flows. Enterprises are automating processes, like we mentioned, with RPA to improve outcomes, reduce costs. Things like data entry are difficult to find people to do that work, and now we can use AI to do that. Retail outlets are optimizing with new understandings of their customers, using Vision AI to watch their customers flow through your store and understand how you could manage things like shrinkage, or how do you promote different products. Manufacturers are kind of reducing downtime with predictive maintenance. And finally, financial services, we've all received that phone call from their credit card saying, was this transaction you? And that is AI in the back end looking at transactions to see what happened. So when we think about AI, we separate it into 3 key areas. The first one is AI applications and agents. And these are pre-trained AI, we call them cognitive services. And they are simply adapted for your environment, and you can leverage them. Your developers can start leveraging them today without the use of or the need for data science expertise. The second one is knowledge and data mining, things like Azure Search, that enable you to reason over large amounts of data and get meaningful insights. And the final one, which I'll talk about last, is the Azure Machine Learning platform that enables you to take your data science expertise, and the tooling that your teams are familiar with, and build your own models, and then ultimately use the cloud to deploy them out to the edge. All of this AI is based on years of research. We were the first to reach human parity with speech recognition. We've actually recently reached with reading human parity, so we actually read better than a human does typically. Things like deploying hardware acceleration like FPGA in data centers. All of this advancement and research that we've done continues to get folded back into the cognitive services that we deliver. And so when you make a bet on Microsoft's AI, you're also making a bet on the research that we're bringing to market today and tomorrow. So we'll take a look at these. The cognitive services, which is that first area, we break into 5 primary areas. First, we call decision, and that's things like anomaly detection. So if you want to watch something and then be able to get the AI to tell you when something different is happening, anomaly detection is that. We have language, and language is really around understanding what language means. So you have text. What does that text mean? And so your developers can use language understanding to do meaningful things with text. Same thing with developing questions and answers and bots. All of that falls in the language category. We have speech services, which are things like turning speech into text, turning text into speech. That capability, and also transcription and translation, all fall into speech. We have vision services, which is object detection. There's like a whole variety of things, and I'll drill into that in a second. Ink handwriting detection, OCR, and finally web search. So those are the 4 big areas. When you take those capabilities, there is an opportunity to create breakthrough experiences for your customers very quickly. You can put these services together to create really interesting, now there's interesting solutions. The examples are largely limitless, but I mean, one that we do a lot, we talk to a lot of customers about is speechifying your business or speechifying your device. And that is ultimately creating a speech interface for your device. So your customer can talk to the device then can reason over that speech, and then it may talk back, or it could just be a simple command and control. And we all do this today when you say, you call to your digital assistant in your home and ask that digital assistant to turn the lights up, turn the lights down, turn the TV on or off, or change the channel. All these things you can build very easily with Azure Cognitive Services. And in fact, to do that, you would use speech to text, language understanding, and text to speech. And it's very simple to do that. You could communicate with your customers using a branded voice through all your customer channels. And we have a cognitive service that does that. Perhaps you have a retail store and you want to identify how, and let's say you're in a business where you create, advertising devices in a store. You could use a camera combined with sentiment analysis in the vision API and understand when people look at my advertisement, what do they do? What are the emotions that they evoke? What are they thinking about those? You can also do things like how old are the people that looked at the ad and how long do they stay in front of that ad? There's all kinds of interesting things you could do. And you don't need to be an AI expert. You just need to leverage these pre-built services. Other examples we have, helping folks understand upselling opportunities by watching their customers, reducing shrinkage. So there's a ton of things you can do with all of these APIs. And so in blue, you can see these are all the individual capabilities that are available. And every day you're adding more of these capabilities. One other point I wanted to make, so these are all pre-trained AI. They run in the cloud today, and you access them by making a simple API call. But we've designed these services so that they can also be deployed in a container you can put down on your edge device. So you may decide that you want to have a speech-controlled device, but due to latency or perhaps your device isn't connected all the time, you could actually run that API down on your device. So that's a deployment option that is available. So one last thing we'll talk about is bots. Everyone wants to build bots. And so we actually have something called bot framework. And that bot framework combined with the cognitive services can do really interesting things. You could transform customer services. For instance, you could have a customer use either a chatbot with their texting, or they could use a bot using speech and transform the way your customers experience customer service. They could go in, we've all had this experience, but you could build that for your device or service. You could scale multi-language by using our translation and a bot, and you could have a bot in 60 languages deliver service, and ultimately you just use a programmer to language, to basically identify the language, do the translate, and then you can actually interact with that customer. So these kinds of capabilities are at your fingertips using the cognitive services APIs. We'll talk a little bit about machine learning. So this is the hard stuff. So now you want to do something like predictive maintenance is a great example where you're going to want to use machine learning on Azure. You have data from the device. You have a history of what that device, what happens before that device fails. You can use the most popular frameworks that your data science folks are trained on. You don't have to use proprietary or hashtag open when it comes to AI. You can simplify model development using these familiar tools, things like Jupyter Notebook or other simplifying models. We have lifecycle tools, so you can have a large group of people working. If you have a distributed workforce, maybe you have folks in India or Ukraine or somewhere you've outsourced some of the data science, you can use our tools to manage a distributed workforce as you build the AI tool set. And finally, we have a powerful infrastructure for training those models with GPUs in the Azure cloud. We also have a way through Azure ioT to push those models down and manage them over time. So there's kind of an end-to-end story here if you want to go and build more complex models. So we have both. If you want to do cognitive services, kind of an easy path to get started quickly, as well as we have if you want to go really deep and deliver a really deep and full solution on your own data, you can do that as well. Talk a little bit about autonomous systems. We actually have a platform for deep reinforcement learning. This is really important when you're wanting to build an autonomous system, let's say for managing a building, like David mentioned earlier, or you have a bulldozer and you want to be able to make the bulldozer become autonomous. We have an entire platform. We acquired a company called Bonsai. We've added a whole bunch of IP and capability around that acquisition. And so now you can take your experts in your business. If you're a bulldozer company, you have experts on how bulldozers work. You can take their expertise, feed this into the platform, build a reinforcement learning model that will create a brain and create automated systems, autonomous systems. And so that's a really exciting opportunity if you're doing building management, motion controls. There's a whole bunch of capabilities where this works. And the kind of top four are motion control, modern buildings, machine calibration, and this is one to pause on. It takes a long time to calibrate a machine like a CNC. You need an expert operator to do that. You can actually use this autonomous system platform that we've developed to drive these calibrations more quickly than humans can. And then finally, process control, like running chemical plants or running the airport, which is what I'm thinking about now, as the snow falls. So we'll take a look at BP quickly. They've got a great case study where they're bringing this all together, and then we'll come back and close on mixed reality.
My team's purpose is to connect people with data and technology. At the heart of that is reservoir and data management, where we have a core focus on improving our gas portfolio while reducing our carbon emissions.
Before the workflow that we had in place, each region of the world was working in a completely different way, and the uncertainty was very big.
One of the first things we did was we took the solution and put it onto the Azure cloud. In parallel to that, we started to build our machine learning model.
Now we have a standard procedure. Everybody works the same way.
It's essentially a few extra lines of code to instantiate the SDK in a notebook for a data scientist. For Microsoft Automated Machine Learning, you're looking at building 9,000 parallel models. That type of build is just not possible without automated machine learning.
Being able to use the machine learning model to predict the recovery factor down to seconds. When you think about we're making multi-billion-dollar decisions, we've seen probably in the tens of millions, if not higher, in terms of both cost savings but improved decisions.
The business is going through enormous digital transformation, and that requires much more sophisticated software to allow people to move to much higher value tasks.
As a company, it's allowing us to open up opportunities that we never knew existed. Our partnership with Microsoft has been absolutely core in our success.
So we've talked a lot about this converged technology, and that's a great example of a company that has skills leveraging the Azure platform to build machine models and really deploy them. The next thing which we want to talk about is really around thinking about the waves of computing that have occurred. So the first wave of computing was personal computing, personal computers, laptops, and we all kind of rose up through that. The second wave of computing we view was the penetration of smartphones through our business, and certainly everybody, it seems like above the age of 10 has a cell phone. So that is ubiquitous, certainly in this culture. The third wave of computing that we think is going to change the way that we interact with each other and interact with the world, and one that is changing this digital edge in ways we never thought possible is mixed reality. So what is mixed reality? And I think everybody sees, we've perhaps tried what is a virtual reality device. We've looked through our phones and seen overlays. In fact, I think there's some great demos out there today that show this idea of augmented reality. We see that kind of mixed reality is this spectrum that goes all the way from the digital world all the way to the physical world. And there's a continuum of devices that allow you to experience either an entirely digital world, which we call virtual reality. You put it on and all you see are the digital elements. There's the phone where you're actually holding it up and looking through a camera and you're experiencing kind of the camera, you're experiencing the world through the camera. And then there's this idea of kind of mixed reality, which is in the middle, which is a transparent pane of glass that you experience the world through, but is also an overlay of the digital world on top of it. And so at Microsoft, we are really interested in enabling not just that scenario that our HoloLens delivers, but that entire spectrum from digital to physical, and allow our customers and our partners to mix as appropriate for the use case. We have a portfolio of devices. I have a slide that have a portfolio of devices, but we do not now. We have a portfolio of devices that, whether it's the Azure Connect camera, which is a deep depth sensing camera. We have the HoloLens, which is an immersive HMD that enables you to experience, both the physical world and this world. We think those are kind of high watermark devices, but we're also building the platforms and tools that our partners can use to build these same solutions. So we're excited about that. We are a tiny bit short on time, so I'm going to just close and talk a little bit about kind of what the we've got a little slide mismatch here, but anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit about the I don't even know if you have a slide. I'm going to talk about a blank slide. AV folks, help me out. Do me a favor, you can't back up. And put one more back. Thank you. About some of the impacts of these edge devices. And so, ABB, one of our partners, has implemented these converged edge scenarios and has seen this huge increase in customer satisfaction. We see that across everybody who begins to create these kind of delightful experiences that are predictive and adaptive to the user, driving that. We're seeing that customers are more willing to buy those solutions because they meet their needs and they adapt to their needs. We're seeing that AI can predictively change the way we use energy and save money as businesses implement this. And the Burj Khalifa case study in the session before is a great example of that. We found that using AI in the business and leveraging document understanding is increasing the amount of data that we can extract and the amount of data that we can process. And that is significant. And then finally, just the speed of digital transformation. I mean, if you went back 2 years ago, every CXO that we met with was like talking about digital transformation and what their plans were for the next 2 years. Now they're actually having to implement those plans. And as you need to improve the velocity of your business and improve the impact of your department, leveraging AI as a way to augment those people and make them be able to do more. And so we're seeing, in the example of insurance where people can do a whole lot more with less resource or the same resource. So this is the kind of capability that we're seeing. Now, as you build these systems, we need to make sure that we keep in mind, that with this great opportunity, there's a great responsibility to do the right thing with the technology. And Microsoft, we strive to, have responsible AI that's built on our core values. And our core values are fairness, reliability, safety, privacy, security, and inclusivity. And at the same time, being transparent and accountable. So I encourage you all, as you're thinking and going on this AI journey, to come to our website. We have a significant amount of materials you can look through and best practices so that you can implement these technologies in a responsible way and kind of get the most for our society out of that. So we'll close with a question. What's stopping you from making these things happen? Well, we think we've brought a ton to the table to help you develop these solutions, and we look forward to partnering with you to help develop those solutions. So thank you for your attention today. I think we have Michelle's going to come up and tell you a little bit, and then we'll close and read some cocktails. So that's fantastic. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Was looking forward to the voice of God again. Hey guys, we're going to wrap it up here. I'm going to give you some ideas of some resources and programs that we have in place that can help you accelerate your sales and your revenue production. Once we're done, we are going to host a cocktail event out here. So please join us. Before I even kind of start on my slides, I want to just pause and I want to thank all the folks that have helped put this together. Bringing these partners in for the showcase out here, that's a lot of work. It's so awesome to have them here and to put all these presentations together and get our partners here. So I just want to say thank you very much for all of those that have helped us to be successful in putting this together. All right, let's talk about programs and resources to help you scale. I always like to start, it's going to work for me. Okay, so I'm going to start with this quote from our CEO, Satya Nadella. You know, we started this ioT thing well over 4 years ago. And during that time, we really developed programs and resources to help you scale. We've kind of refined them, and I want to share with you what some of those are. So some of the programs that we developed, one of them is called co-selling. So I'm an Azure ioT co-sell lead here in the Americas. And I spend quite a bit of my time, if not 90% of my time, co-selling with our partners who have developed onto our platform. As we developed co-selling, we actually found that our partners were seeing this unparalleled growth. In particular, there were 3 areas that they really found that with co-selling we were able to help them with. We were able to help our partners extend their reach and selling to companies they had never had access to before. We were also able to expand their deal size by being connected to the cloud. And then lastly, boy, this is like, he's not kidding, these slides just go on their own. I have to go back. That's weird. Okay, and then the last thing we were able to do with them was we were able to accelerate their wins. By doing all of this and with the programs that we did, they really started to trailblaze for us their digital transformation. On the right side of this particular slide, there's some really interesting statistics. In the last 2 years, we've actually driven about $9.5 billion in total contracted sales, which came from about 36,000 IP co-sell wins that we did. We tracked with our partners, and what they experienced was 121% growth in annualized contract value. They found 114% growth in IP partner-to-partner co-sell wins, and then 408% partner-to-partner co-sell wins, which is kind of staggering for us. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how they did that. This slide really kind of depicts the millions of ways that you can work with Microsoft in selling your solutions. We're taking these 3 concentric circles to help depict that. First, the largest circle in the back there is our marketplace. And then the center circle is our partner-to-partner ecosystem. And then the last methodology is using and working with our Microsoft sellers. So let me peel this back for you. First of all, the Microsoft Marketplace. This is where you can connect to one and millions of end customers. This is where IT professionals and developers go to get finished goods. This is where you can access 75 million buyers. And this is where we're averaging about 100,000 leads a month. Now, I'm going to use a partner example a little bit later that gives you an example of a partner that's really accelerated using this. The partner is called Genetec. They're a security surveillance company that has really mastered working on our marketplace. The center circle, that's our partner-to-partner ecosystem. This is really where you're able to access 1 to thousands and thousands of end customers. This is where we introduce you to our system integrator and system aggregator, many of them which are out here showcasing today. They can help you with demand generation. They can help you give you a global presence. We found that they have about 17 million sellers that you can access. And I'm going to use one of our partners called L Squared to explain how they've used this successfully. The last one is our Microsoft seller ecosystem. All right, we have 6,500 enterprise sellers at Microsoft that work with about 12,000 end customers. In addition, we have inside sales and corporate sales that work with another 28,000 end customers. And we've developed a co-selling motion also with our sellers that have helped accelerate the adoption of ioT solutions. So depending on which path you decide to go, whether it's the marketplace, whether it's the partner-to-partner ecosystem, or whether working and co-selling with Microsoft sellers, it's a journey. And I want to kind of give you an idea of what that journey is. And I want to start with, where do we start? What do I do? And who can help me? Ooh, that's the voice of God. All right, so this slide really depicts kind of that journey. If you're just starting out with Microsoft, this kind of gives you an idea of the steps that you're going to need to go through. The first step is to sign up with the Microsoft Partner Network. This is where you get access to technical support. You can access a sandbox. You can actually develop. You can test your solutions in there. Plus, there's a ton of other benefits that you get as a Microsoft partner in the network. From there, we're kind of going on through the continuum. Then once you've got your solution, then we want to help you build a practice. We want you to help onboard, have some marketing material that's developed, understand what your value proposition is, understand the vertical that you're going to focus on. And then the end of the continuum is we're going to work with you on figuring out how to accelerate the adoption of your solution and accelerate the sales. If this seems like a lot, don't worry. Like I said, we spent the last 4 years trying to figure this out. One of the best things that we figured out is, for those partners who are not quite sure if they need help or how they're going to get to market, we've developed a system integrator, system aggregator market, where you can actually work with them to take your idea from an idea to revenue. So we're only listing 6 of the integrators and aggregators here. We have quite a number of them. But outside, there are a number of them that are showing. I would really encourage you at the cocktail hour to seek them out. Grab a card, set up a call, talk to them through where you are and where you want to go. But Arrow, Insight, Avnet, Synnex, Ingram Micro, Tech Data, these are phenomenal companies that have developed these ioT practices to help you get through the process. I'm going to take one of the partners and I'm going to highlight kind of their deal factory methodology. And this is Tech Data. Now remember, all of these partners have this capability to help you out. Tech Data has the ability to take your idea. They can do some design planning. They can actually build your solution. They can test your solution. They can get your solution into market. They can optimize your solution. They can help you with marketing material. They can help you with inside sales. They can help you with billing. They can help you with the entire continuum. So the reason why I really want to encourage you to go and work with them is they are a great way to help you scale. You might be able to do all of this on your own, or maybe you only need one component of it, and they're okay with that. If all you need is to help on having an inside sales organization or a customer service organization, talk to them. They can help supplement what you're doing. If you're a company in here that says, hey, I've got my own developers, we can develop our own solutions. I have my own business development people, we can find the sales. We have our own billing engine. I say great. We have many of our partners, Honeywell, Mariner, many of the partners that were up here today that have done that. But what we've done is, in order to augment them, we've developed this cloud solution enablement desk. And you can go to that enablement desk and they can help you onto the Microsoft Partner Network. They can set up your profile for you. They'll be able to help navigate through technical training that you might want for your technical sellers. They can help you with the competencies that you feel that you might need. They can guide you through using your benefits as a Partner Network subscriber. And most important to me is they will help you get up onto our marketplace. So once you're through that process, it really opens the door to letting partners and companies have access to your solutions. All right, so you'll be able to reach Microsoft sellers 3 ways. So Microsoft has one marketplace and 2 storefronts. All right, so the marketplace, if you were a business that you were seeking a line of business solution, you could go into our marketplace and seek solutions. Let's say that you were looking for some asset management solutions. You could go to our marketplace and find those and procure them off the marketplace. If you were a developer or an IT professional and you're looking for some ready-made building blocks to your solution, you can go to the marketplace and you can buy ready-built blocks. An example would be if you were building, I don't know, a parking solution and you wanted to have an auto license plate reader, you can go ahead and code your own auto license plate reader or buy one that's already made and plug it into your solution. This marketplace is also where our sellers go to find out what solutions are out there by our partners that they can introduce to their customers. A little bit about our sellers is they are spending quite a bit of time with the executives talking about the art of the possible. And so even though we expect our partners to do their own business development, our sellers are continually asking how they can help their customers solve real business problems at the line of business. I'm going to use one example real quick, and that is New York City. The New York City MTA, their Metro Transit Authority, has a $51 billion funded capital plan to transform their transportation system. My sellers and I sat down and their specialists, and we looked through that booklet that you got today. And we found 50 partners that have ioT solutions that can be introduced to the organization within MTA that is looking at how they're going to transform their business. We're talking from partners that can make buses and trains, to partners that have solutions like Honeywell in the buildings, to solutions for asset tracking the equipment that goes into MTA. There's all of these types of solutions that we introduced to the MTA, and it's a continuous process. This is going to take a few years for them to build this out, and we continually are looking at partners and introducing them to the New York MTA. All right, what I'd like to do, and I'll try and do this fairly quickly because I realize it's between me and cocktails, is I'm going to give you some examples of some partners that were really successful in those different 3 concentric circles. So you remember that marketplace, the largest concentric circle where you have access to millions of end customers? I have a partner by the name of Genetec. Genetec started with us well over 3 years ago. You know, they had one solution, autoplate. It was the autoplate reader that they actually developed. They had one solution. They had one CIO. They had 3 business development people. They had a handful of developers and engineers. Fast forward, we just introduced the 14th solution last week into market. They have over 800 sellers and technical support that is outselling their solutions. All of their solutions are up on the marketplace. You could go buy their solutions direct. Let's say you're looking for a security and surveillance solution. You can go to the marketplace. Let's say that you're looking for something that you could plug into your solution. You can go to the marketplace and find that. They've done a phenomenal job, not only with using the marketplace, but gaining access to a world of customers they never had access to before. Let me go to that center circle and give you an example. That partner-to-partner play using the system integrators and the aggregators. I have a partner by the name of L Squared that we're working with. They have a digital signage solution. Digital signage is completely different than what I would have ever thought. I always think of digital signage in help desk areas, but no, digital signage has really become much more. Kind of in the world that we live today, we have to have signage now going into our children's classrooms because of all this active shooter stuff that's going on. We need to have the ability that when the school gets locked down, that we can communicate to that teacher real time, that she needs to hold in place and be able to provide ongoing communications to keep the calm as things are being solved on the outside. We also have digital signage going into prisons. We have digital signage going at the gas pumps. I can go and get my gas now and listen to the morning news. So there's all these usage for digital signage. L Squared has done a phenomenal job with having a partner ecosystem that's brought them to market. First, they started to work with Arrow as their integrator. Then they worked with Intel for their marketing and support on the marketing end. Then they went ahead and accessed Best Buy to help them for their field sales. And And then they work with Microsoft sellers on the enterprise level of sales. Those would be selling large solutions at the GNCs and the CVSs and the Philips 66s of the world, where Microsoft has sellers that are continually trying to find solutions for these partners or these end customers. All right, my last example is with a company called Mariner. We had them up here this morning as our very first partner. Stephen Walsh, who was going through with the automobile fabric and the data and AI tools that they have. They have two solutions out in market. They have a spyglass visual inspection that has just grown phenomenally in the manufacturing area, and they have a connected factory solution. So they're the example that I want to use of working with the Microsoft sellers. Once they went through the process and they got their solutions co-sell ready, we actually introduced them to the Microsoft Manufacturing Industry Group. This is a group of specialists that just sell to the manufacturers. We articulated what their solutions are. We mapped out the top accounts that Mariner was already selling to. We hosted individual calls with those sales teams. We developed individualized strategies, and the teams are now working together and growing that. We've had some tremendous wins over this last year since we've done that. And this is a really good example of a partner who's really accessed that one-to-many methodology by using a co-sell method with Microsoft. Okay, over the last 3 to 4 years as we've developed this ioT co-sell program, we've come out with some helpful hints. I've got 6 of them for you, so I'll go through them real quick. The helpful hints that I would really advise you on is be clear what your value proposition is. As you're developing your marketing material, be clear what that value proposition is to your customers. Have clarity on the market that you're going to focus on. Don't try to be everything to everyone. Focus on it, go into that vertical, be successful, and expand thereafter. Align with your channel manager. If you're working with our integrators and our aggregators, or whether you're working with Microsoft, my best advice is set up a rhythm of business call with them. On those calls, come to those calls with an update. Where are you? Where are you going? What's the next step? And what help do you need? And I will tell you, for those partners that have done that, they have shortened that continuum to market. Those that haven't, there's this language time that goes on. And be open and transparent. You have NDAs with these folks, use them. If you need help to go to your board of directors, to be able to get approval to go into market, to develop a new line of business for the company, we can help you do that. Our partners are able to help you do that. So use the tools that are out there. What I'd really like you to do is to publicize some really good marketing material that my sellers can use. If you go to our cloud enablement desk, or if you use the integrators to help you get to market, we'll help you develop these sales guides. I use them every single day. And it's a one sheet on you that is a picture of who your market is, what your solution is, what's your elevator pitch, how do I help figure out where in the business that I want to pitch this, who are my blockers, who's your competitors. It's a great snapshot. Also, big recommendation, if I could weight all of these recommendations, this would be my #1 weighted one. And that is, when you get into market, you have to be able to get your product into market, and you need to ask early and often for case studies. Don't shy away from this. If you have friends that are going to be your first customers, ask your friends to be a case study for you. People want to hear that it's been successfully deployed someplace. All right. I really also found one of the success areas is to balance between your organization capabilities and a partner-to-partner capability. If you have your own business development, great. But if you want to expand that and you need to have people in market work with these integrators, the worst thing is that you have your sellers that are flying from Atlanta to Seattle, Seattle to Florida, Florida to New York, all in 2 days because you're doing live meetings and demos. You can't sustain it. Trust me when I tell you, you cannot sustain it. Please figure out a way to build up a sales organization that will help support this. Some technology is a good way to do that. Use Teams, right? Come up with other ways, other than flying your guys all over the world. You might not be able to keep them for long when you exhaust them like that. All right. I like I was on my high horse there, but those are really things that we have learned. All right, hopefully today you took advantage of the matchmaking that was going on out there. If not, most of these partners will be attending the reception, right? So please take some time to talk to them. Hopefully everyone got one of the IT solution books that we put together. You know, we don't actually believe in printing catalogs, but I'll tell you, I found out that I needed to have something that I could absolutely go to and say, okay, I'm speaking to healthcare. What are my healthcare solutions? I'm speaking to manufacturing. What are manufacturing solutions that are co-sell ready? So make sure, if you didn't get one of those books, get one. If they ran out, which typically happens, ask to have one sent to you. And please get up onto the Microsoft Marketplace. It's really a way to help you scale. All right, I don't do anything unless I really have a call to action. So I'm gonna talk to partners as partners and end customers as end customers. Partners that are here, I really want you to sign up to the Microsoft Partner Network. Reach out to a solution aggregator to get some help to get to market. Promote your solutions on the marketplace. And if you need help, reach out to our cloud enablement desk. Let's get you into market, okay? Now we have end customers that are also developing. So for those end customers that are still here, visit our marketplace. There's a vast number of solutions. And based off of all the conversations that were going on out there today and the executive meetings that I've been in the last 3 days, there's a lot more coming. All right, this is a revolution that is now on a fast train. Leverage your Microsoft account teams. If you have people that you're working with, work with them. If you need help getting into market, ask them for help. They'll figure out how to get to our organization, and we will help give them guidance on how to help you. All right, I get the opportunity of closing this out. So, what I want to say is thank you for your time. I know this is a long day, and there is a lot of information. You're going to get an email from us within about a week, recapping this information. We'll get you some links to some of these really important sites that you want to get to. But spend some time at the cocktail hour here and meet some of these partners. Ask them how they got to where they are and have real dialogues. See if there's things out there that you can plug into your solutions. But I personally want to say, I really appreciate your time. We've dwindled down to a few. Those that last are always the A students. Remember that. Have a great evening, and I'm so glad that you were here. Thank you.
All right, that's about right up for this, and it's about time to get out of here. It's been awesome, and yeah, I'm gonna go have some cocktail and good night.